It's Comics Are Great, the visual storytelling show recorded live every other Wednesday. It's been a while since we've done the last live one, but we usually do it every other Wednesday. Out of the Ann Arbor District Library Netcast studio in lovely downtown Ann Arbor, Michigan, comics.aadl.org. And my name is Jersey Droz, cartoonist and teaching artist. And this is the show where we talk about comics, making comics, comics lifestyle, all the stuff that surrounds this medium that drives us crazy. And this week we're going to be doing a wrap-up of the Small Press Expo in Bethesda, Maryland. I've got two of the folks here, two locals who are at the Small Press Expo with me. And we'll start with Sally Carson of Fixpert.com. Hey, Sally.
Hi.
Hey, was that your first time doing SPX?
I've attended before, and I've brought like minis in my jacket pocket that I'm handing out and trading. But it was my first time tabling.
And what's the headline? The headline of your experience there?
Oh man, just so much goodness. It's the show of love. I think the show of brotherly love,
of sibling love, I guess, if you want to be gender neutral on that.
Yeah, platonic love.
Platonic love.
A lot of hugs.
Gender.
A lot of high fives.
Gender. I meant to say. What would you say? Sibling love. That is what I said. I didn't say.
Yeah, sibling.
Okay. Oh, anyway, but yes. So you are a cartoonist.
Mm-hmm.
You are a UI UX. Designer, and you're a retired bike messenger.
That's right.
So that will color our conversation today.
Okay.
This background real quick. We'll talk more about your books in a minute, and then I have to turn to Mr. Chadsell of ChadsellComics.com, mantoman.com, or is it
mantomancomics.com?
Yeah. There we go. And then also, we're going to talk a little bit later about your work on the RuPaul's Drag Race project. Oh, my God. Good for you. Because, man, you draw the best drag queens ever.
Thank you.
Ever. Without it's unequivocally, it's a truth. It is an objective truth.
Well, if you carve out an obscure enough niche, you can own it. Is that right?
I wouldn't call it that obscure because, like, whenever a Drag Race episode goes live, everybody I follow on Twitter is talking about it. The Drag Tweets hashtag.
You have good followers. I
follow lots of people. But also you draw really, really, really great stuff. And shame on me for not getting you on the show sooner because we've known each other for like 6 years now.
Yeah, I moved to Ann Arbor like 6 or 7 years ago, and you definitely were the first comics person I met. Yeah.
Is that right? Oh,
well, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I remember us having coffee at Starbucks or something like a long time ago, it seemed
like.
Yeah,
and I was asking you how to be a freelance illustrator, but it would be many years before I was making any money at art. It was kind of,
I'm still trying to make money at art, but yeah. So you do a lot of comic stuff, and you you've done your share of teaching comics as well. Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
So two local folks who attended the Small Press Expo, and here's another layer I got to throw on top of this. You guys were both presenters at the 16th Annual Ignatz Awards ceremony at the Small Press Expo, and you guys were both awesome at it.
Thank you. It was amazing.
Yeah,
how cool.
That was fun, wasn't it?
So fun.
That was super, super fun. So, okay, so I said we're going to talk about SPX, and, folks in the chat, if you guys want to chime in, if you were there, if you want to share some of your stories in the chat client at comicsargreat.tv or at youtube.com/comicsaregreat, I'd love to hear from you guys. Also, we're using the Twitter hashtag today, CAGSPX, if you want to use that to converse with us. But I want to get, start with the fun stuff. Favorite stories from this. So this is a Small Press show, Small Press Expo. But I don't even know if that name is even accurate anymore because you had people like Chris Ware there, you had Daniel Clowes, you had the Hernandez brothers there. Yeah, I guess they're considered small press when you compare them to the world of the traditional American comics. You can't call that mainstream anymore. We're in such a weird transition period because if you go outside of the superhero world, it's like Jaime Hernandez and Gilbert Hernandez. They're big names.
Yeah. They are, but I mean, those two guys are still published by Fantagraphics. I mean, for the most part, I think Gilbert Hernandez does some work with like Vertigo and all sorts of other people. But I mean, technically they're still small press. I think. It is a really weird era where like a small imprint of a larger publisher might publish some art comics, and what does that even classify as anymore?
Right. But I mean, but you think about Chris Ware and like what coffee table are his books not on? Right. I mean, everybody knows who Chris Ware is. I mean,
what New Yorker issue it does not have him on the cover?
Right.
Same with Adrian Tomina and
yeah. So like so it feels weird to say it's Small Press Expo because that gives connotations that I would say are not exactly accurate. Although there was tons of small press there, right?
Yeah. I did not feel like the big stars leached away any attention. And maybe it was
Right.
just because I was in the corner where they were doing all the signings, so I had a lot of traffic. But no, it was great. And when I saw that they were doing signing really close to me, I was worried that the lines would stretch across my table and block it. But they had it set up really well, where the lines went out the hallway and didn't obscure anyone's.
Nice. So pro.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've been to shows before where I've been down the row from a quote unquote big name, and then the line just goes right in front of my table, and everybody's just looking at me, like, well, I'm just here waiting to see that guy over there,
You're hoping that you become the impulse buy on the way. You're like the pack of gum on the checkout line.
It's better than Us Weekly.
but it doesn't work that way. Everybody's just like, oh, I'm just tired of waiting in line to get a signature from this guy over here. So they don't want to look at me.
Yeah.
But yeah, SPX did a really good job of funneling the traffic in a way. But then also, I think the spirit of the show. I mean, I guess we could just like characterize the show first, and then we can go into favorite stories. Is the spirit of the show was that the quote unquote big names weren't the only thing people were there for. There was this and I said this before about the Small Press Expo. The people who come to that show have this kind of desire for discovery. Whereas when I went to the traditional comic shows, it felt like, oh, I'm here to get my autograph from the guy who played Silver Surfer in the movie, and I might buy a few Silver Surfer products, maybe get a Silver Surfer t-shirt, Silver Surfer action figure, maybe get a book with Silver Surfer in it, and then all you poor schmucks over there with your independent or small press books, I'm just going to, kind of look at you in this way of like, what is that, I don't know. Do you guys, what shows do you guys typically go to besides SPX?
Well, I did my first show last year, and I did a bunch of small regional shows. And this year, I made a point of like hitting up all the big small shows, all the big shows specializing in indie and self-publishing stuff. So I did TCAF, I did MoCA, I did Space in Columbus, Ohio, and SPX. And I was hoping at best that SPX would be as good as TCAF was, because TCAF was a really extraordinary show. And I think it had a very similar feel. I'm not going to say SPX was better than TCAF, but I did sell even more than I did at TCAF, and that was really great. I was really just paranoid about flying. It sucks to fly to a con.
Yeah.
And so I was sort of limited in my inventory and everything, but I thought it went really, really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm a recent transplant from the Bay Area, so I've been going to APE the last few
Alternate
years.
Press Expo, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of like a cousin show to SPX. It's like the West Coast SPX, or maybe APE is you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you
I've been to Comic-Con once. It was crazy. It was totally bananas. It was hilarious. Like, everybody should go once at least if you have the endurance for all that stimulation.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. You should go once, and if you feel like going back again, do it.
Yeah.
But I once was enough for me.
Once was enough for me. Yeah.
I went in 2003, and I heard it's even more intense than then.
Okay.
And I just can't even imagine, because the one I went to in 2003, it wiped me out just walking around.
Yeah. I think I went, it was probably like, I was living in LA at the time, so it was easy to get to. And I think it was probably like 2007.
Okay.
So it's probably expanded since then. I went to Cake this year. That was a great show. Like, it was its first year, and I thought that was really nicely done.
Now, remind me where Cake is held.
It's Chicago. What was the art school?
Columbia?
Columbia?
I think it's at Columbia College.
Yeah, Columbia College. Yeah. Really pretty space. It's maybe on the 5th floor, and there's wraparound windows. There's a view of Lake Michigan.
Oh, pretty.
A lot of art students coming through. So, like, the audience is really engaged and into what you're doing. And just really nicely organized. I thought they did a great job with that.
I think what I would say about SPX was that I think some of the other shows that I've been to, TCAF Space, Cake, they had like great personality, great people behind them, and good people showing up. But I think SPX was like the greatest combination of all of those factors. Like it definitely does sort of have like the justifiable title of like the biggest small press show in America and probably Canada too.
Definitely. And they're just like the vibe. Everybody's super approachable. I think one of the main reasons I go to shows is just to connect with peers, like other creators. I want to connect with an audience too and sell some books, but a lot of it is, you're in your cave working on comics in solitary, and then it's good to come out and after your eyes have adjusted to the light, connect up with some homies and get some high fives and go get Thai food.
Well, yeah. But also, I mean, there's that whole thing about making FaceTime with people in your field. So then they go, oh, you're Panja57 on Twitter, right?
Good memory.
Hey, and then you're a Fixpert on Twitter finally, you know, and then I finally get to connect the face to the name, and then, you know, these people that you've only talked to online. I mean, these social media things are awesome because it allows us to stay connected and everything, but you can't beat that whole having, you know, splitting a knish with a favorite cartoonist, right?
And it's a trip. Like, I'm only just now getting to the point where people approach me that are complete strangers who are somehow familiar with my work, I guess through the web. Or maybe they're just like buttering me up, you know, like being nice. But that's amazing. Like getting to that point where someone you don't know is familiar with your work somehow. That was so super cool.
That is a pretty surreal experience when somebody comes up to you without any introduction and starts reciting, or not reciting, but referring to something you mentioned somewhere online. Like, remember when you did